On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick have to break out a special topic on Andor because the Star Wars well is running dry as we wait for the show's new September release. Worry not, though, because they'll still talk about Disney Plus Day and its meager Star Wars offerings, as well as the fact that Bad Batch S2 is not listed in Disney Plus's September releases. Gamers will get some updates, too, as the Kotor Remake saga has taken another turn, and hopefully one for the better. Of course, the show will end with the Question of the Week responses, and the latest round of Top 5 Star Wars Fan Artist Features. Punch it, Chewie!
Hey now, everybody! That is the type of intro you can expect on the Star Wars Time Show every Tuesday live on YouTube. YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. 2:30 East. Give or take 10, 15 minutes. You never know. We were going on and on about shit we were watching there. I forgot that the intro wrapped like 30 seconds ago. So, hey, everybody. I got my way too tight Kenobi shirt on because I've packed on some pounds this summer being immobile, but still love it. Thank you, Adrian. Makes me look large. See, that's the trick, my friends, especially if you're short. So if you're short and fat, it may seem like an oxymoron to buy small size shirts, but it is the way to go. I can tell you right now, you're going to look better as a sausage casing than you will with a too long, larger size shirt. You know, Nick's probably like, hey, man, just get a medium. I'd be like, you're not wrong, Nick, but I'm short. A medium shirt on me almost goes to my knees, okay? Yeah. So then you'd have that air space around the stomach, so you'd still look fat anyways. It would get tight around the waist, and then you have more fabric that goes to your knees and just kind of makes you look silly. So a few years back, I opted to just smaller bust. It doesn't matter what article of clothing. If it's going on my top, it is a small. And I look ridiculous in some of them, but I don't care.
I buy those shirts now that are like, they're like shaped differently, so it like accentuates like your
the dad bod shirts,
body.
Right? Is it the dad bod shirts?
Yeah, I don't know what the brand that I buy is called, like Kingston or something, Kingstead. Like those are really nice, but like
see, I mean, it's not like you're Minute Bowl or anything, but you are taller than me, so I think you can get away with doing a medium or something, and the length doesn't look ridiculous. So
oh no, I wear large shirts.
Okay,
like my upper body is too wide for mediums.
Oh, like, mine too. But it's like I said, it just I don't know. I almost feel safer when I can feel my shirt touching every square inch of my belly. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's like a baby's being swaddled in a blanket. I think it has something to do with that. So who knows? I'm up to 50% weight bearing on the leg. So one of these days I'll be able to get back into the home gym and really start kicking my ass again. But it just shit went off the rails there when I was down in Hilton Head a few weeks ago, just kind of sitting in the condo all day, yet eating like I was an active person and would be able to work out a week after the vacation, and that's not the case. So it's all just kind of collected itself down here, and I'm getting ready to do the truffle shuffle again. Goonies fans, like,
oh yeah,
like I could easily get a good truffle shuffle going on right now. But it'll come off at some point in time. This week, 75%. Next week, 100%. Maybe in 2 weeks, I'll be able to drive again. I'm almost back to being one notch above subhuman. So that's good. That's good.
Nice.
Many months to go before I'm on the one wheel again, re-breaking my leg. But just knowing that putting the fucking crutches down within the next 2 weeks, that's going to be a huge QOL, as we say it, improvement. Okay, my friend. Well, I think you kind of teased it in your top 5 post yesterday, but and it shouldn't be new to anyone that is kind of keeping their ear to the ground for Star Wars news throughout the week in between SWTS episodes. But this past week was damn near dead. We got some movement in the Star Wars universe this morning, so we have a few more topics than we thought. But for the most part, they're PSA type of shit, maybe get a little speculation here or there. It just, the Star Wars well has runneth dry, as they say. And, some of that's because Andor got pushed back. Who knows what's going on with Bad Batch Season 2? We're going to talk about that here today. So this is going to be one of those SWTS special topic type of episodes. One we haven't done one of these, I think, since May when we kind of paid respects to AOTC. So we've got that plan where we're going to go through Nick's top 5 once and Matt's top 5 once in Andor S1. So we've got that coming up. But first things first, my friend, it's time to take the fans through a tour of Matt and Nick's pop culture life. All right? So if you are on the live stream here, you can see we've got the poster here for She-Hulk Attorney at Law, which hit Disney Plus last week. I believe this is a Thursday dropper, so Disney's almighty Wednesday release day apparently is starting to get some kinks in the armor. But I'll tell you what, I had I had nothing really going into She-Hulk. I planned to watch it. I'm not one of these people who's like, fuck you, the CG looks like shit. I was like, hey, whatever. I pay for Disney Plus. I want that first party content that you can't get anywhere else. You might as well check it out. 37-minute opening. That's a little sketchy, but threw it on there, Nick, and it's a pretty good little Marvel show. I mean, I don't know jack shit about She-Hulk, but what was nice about episode 1 is it's more or less a 30-minute what do they used to call it?
Pilot?
No. When you introduce a superhero, what's their first movie?
Origin
called?
story.
There you go.
Origin
That's
story.
it. That's why we pay this guy. Yeah. It's basically a quick origin story. So you get a lot of Hulk, Mark Ruffalo, and Smart Hulk in it, as well as She-Hulk. And I don't know. I just dig that type of stuff. I'll be honest that the CG does look a little goofy at times, but it's nothing that is going to ruin things for you. And I like the flow of the origin story and how it was a bit atypical. You kind of had Hulk trying to force his way and his experiences on his cousin. And he learned that, you know what? Not every superhero fits the same mold, pal. So it's a good little story in there. And I kind of like the way it ended with her having to do some things. So I enjoyed it. I'll keep on it. But I watch all this shit, so I'm not usually the best critic for this type of stuff. I don't know if I have jelly in my head, Nick, and I just am brainless when it comes to this type of content. But as long as I don't feel myself feeling dirty watching it or falling asleep, I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna dig into this type of stuff. So She-Hulk will stay on the watching schedule. Okay.
Nice. I have not seen it.
Well, I know you're boycotting Marvel, so I wasn't even going to ask. But this one is many MCU shows down the rungs for you, I know. So, the other thing, and Nick, I do want you to check this one out, and I actually think you could talk Taylor into this one. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time because it is old. I believe this came out in March, but I finally had 3 hours of just time to kill to sit down and watch RRR on Netflix, which is this.
What is that?
It's some, I don't know. I can't even tell you the genre. I mean, obviously it's Bollywood-esque, but being someone that has never watched a Bollywood movie, I don't really know if this is what all Bollywood is like. All I can tell you is that RRR is one of the most epic pieces of cinema, one of the most unique pieces of cinema I've ever seen. outside of having to read subtitles, it is, in my opinion, one of the greatest movies of 2022, if not in the past few decades. My friend, Nick, it's something when you watch it, if you're not used to watching these types of films, the whole time you're just going to be going like, what? Like, what is going on? Oh, you do this in this movie? You do that? I mean, we're talking killer action scenes. They like hum chant some of the movie, and by hum chant I mean like, they started fighting, ba ba, he took his spear, yeah yeah, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. They do like Bollywood dance numbers in the middle of the plot when it's like there is a plot, but it's not really about dancing. All I can tell you is this is a piece of cinema I think anyone that enjoys filmmaking or watching movies needs to watch. I'll leave it at that. It's almost too hard to explain. From what I've read, apparently these two characters do have some ties to Indian lore. This Ramu and Bean character. But any other explanation I could try to do just wouldn't. It would be a disservice to this film. It's not like a Hot Shots Part 2, okay? It's not like a slapsticky movie. It actually is a serious movie, and there's a serious plot, and it kind of deals with the Great Britain and its colonialism at that time, and the Raj, and how the Indian people didn't want the Brits there. So there's like real stuff to it, but it's so fantastical it almost feels like a superhero movie on steroids. So, like I said, if you got 3 hours and you're willing to deal with subtitles, some of it is in English because obviously the Brits are there, but it you have to watch it. Like you have to check it out. You're either gonna hate me for wasting 3 hours of life, or you're gonna be like, you know what, dude, I'm glad you kind of pushed me over that cliff.
The likelihood of me watching that is next to 0%, but I appreciate the recommendation.
I'm telling you.
It's just because we don't sit down for that long to really watch stuff.
Well, maybe schedule it into a 2-nighter. Do an hour and a half, something like that. But it looks silly. It sounds silly. Just, if anything, Nick, do me a solid and watch the trailer on Netflix or watch the trailer on YouTube. Because that's what first got me to hit play. Because you're just watching this going, this looks fucking crazy. Like I need to check this out. So some of the best action I've seen in decades. I mean, they make American movie action scenes these days seem tame and silly and nothing but big explosions. All right. Last but not least, this for you parents out there. Checked out Secret Headquarters on Paramount Plus this weekend. And while, young, whatever the hell his name's in here, this Walker Scoble, Will Scoble, he was great in The Adam Project, and he's good in this one, and this one is okay. It definitely is no The Adam Project. But if you've got younger kids, kids in middle school, and you need something to sit down and check out together, you can find worse things than Secret Headquarters, starring Owen Wilson on Paramount Plus. Okay. It's kind of like Alien introduce Iron Man technology type of movie. And last but not least, this is just your PSA for your two dudes at the Star Wars Time Show and all the hard work they do. Make sure to check out our short form content, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, at Star Wars Time Show on Instagram. This past week, we did a quick cap and review of Star Wars number 26. Where we learned that Crimson Dawn had spies on the second Death Star. So fuck those Bothans. Were they the ones that really got the secrets from Mon Mothma? Or was it Kira? We teased the Grand Inquisitor Hot Toys figure. Check that one out from Kenobi. And then lastly, this past week, since the last time we talked, we also quick captain review Han Solo and Chewbacca number 5, one of the most boring Star Wars comic book runs I have the pleasure to read. All right, just know that Greedo shoots first, and Maz Kanata did a little jail time with her buddy Chewbacca. That's about the only relevant things to come out of Han and Chewie number 5. All right, good sir. I think that was a pretty good tour of the pop culture verse. Is there anything that the fans need to know that I missed?
I didn't watch shit. So
Nick is meditating these days. He's going
I'm
full
covered.
full cord cutting. He doesn't believe in streaming or electricity anymore.
I didn't watch anything. So I think you hit everything that is remotely important, I guess. For those of you who want to know, neither of us watched the House of the Dragon thing. So we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, that's right. We both skipped the Game of Thrones premiere, or Game of Thrones prequel part 2.
Yeah. So
hey there.
We'll get to it eventually. But we haven't watched
little ones back from school. You got in? Yeah. All right, you gotta. If you want to get on camera, you gotta lean in a little. There you are. You got your Grogu.
Yes.
I was showing him my Kenobi shirt and how it's too tight now.
Dad, I'm trying to get full Grogu, just like my robe and PJs and my slippers.
I love it. I think that's a good idea. All right. Well, it's good to see you. I did the cat boxes for you. Okay. Wasn't that nice? All right. Back to Star Wars.
Back to Star Wars.
All right. See you, little lady.
All 3 things.
Yeah, I know. It's
And like you said, we got 2 of those things today.
Yeah. So the first one here, Nick, I guess there's a little we could speculate on, maybe get some angry Star Wars fanish on it. And that is what is looking like the Disney Plus Day 2022 schedule. And just like last year, instead of putting out a schedule, they should have just put up 2 middle fingers and then underneath that, Star Wars fans. So it would read, fuck you, Star Wars fans. You know what I mean?
I think that, like, Disney Plus Day, I see what I mean. Like, I get why there's no Star Wars things. They have a whole fucking half-week long convention dedicated to Star Wars where they went over everything.
Yeah.
So they're like,
but
do we need to go over it again 2 months later?
yeah, it's I get what you're saying, but if you're trying to keep people interested in a pay channel, and a lot of those people are Star Wars nuts, wouldn't you throw them at least 2 bones on Disney Plus Day? I mean, I know
I would actually be interested to see if, like, Disney Plus is I wonder what percentage of people, like, are there for Star Wars, because I think that, like, it's a lot of parents who, like, just have Disney shit on in the background.
But would you agree with me that without The Mandalorian, Disney Plus may not be as successful as it is today?
That's a hard question, because I really don't know if it would have affected it that much. It definitely would have affected the immediate number of people who subscribed. Right. But I think that even if it was like a later release, it would still, like, they've now surpassed Netflix in terms of total number of subscribers. I think that it still would have gotten there. It just would have taken a little bit more time. But
hey, listen, I'm a narcissistic Star Wars fan. I'll defend it until I die or turn blue in the face, whichever comes first. So I just believe that without the Star Wars content, Disney Plus takes a pretty legit hit in subscribers. So if you're going to have a Disney Plus Day, why not give us a reach around every once in a while besides behind the scenes documentaries, which, hey, we love them. We talk about them all the time. We love them here. But give us something. Like, give us something. At least tickle our tits, as we like to say. So Disney Plus Day, as we lament it, it is going to be September 8th. And so far, the only Star Wars thing releasing on Disney Plus Day is going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, A Jedi's Return, which is essentially, it looks like they've gone away from the Disney Gallery thing, or maybe that's only for The Mandalorian, but all this is, and trust me, I got a little excited too when I saw A Jedi's Return. I'm like, oh shit, are they like stealth dropping a stealth episode of Kenobi? But then I'm stupid and realized, no, it's just for the BTS. And don't get me wrong. I mean, the fact that they even made a poster for the making of Obi-Wan Kenobi, clearly they've put some time and money into this. I think it's going to be a great behind-the-scenes featurette. It's probably going to hit the feels more than a lot of these BTS have done because of the era and the characters it's going to deal with. The actors you're going to see that, you know, some of you grew up with the prequel cast. Those are your dudes and dudettes. So, hey, that's going to be great. But like I said, if we pull down here to the schedule, Nick, That's it. Like, I mean, Thor Love and Thunder releases that day. The making of Thor Love and Thunder releases that day. It's something I've been waiting for, and I know Nick has been waiting for. He's been tweeting about it. The Frozen 1 and 2 sing-alongs are dropping on September 8th. Here's another one that we should all get excited for and re-up Disney+. Dancing with the Stars, the pros' most memorable dances. That is the type of content that I want to pay for and that I am happy they're increasing our subs for. I mean, this is what our increases have gotten us. The Pinocchio movie, remembering where the fuck that is. Another Simpsons short. Tierra Incognita, right? I know you were looking at that one. I mean, pretty exciting lineup for Disney Plus Day, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. But like Nick said, at this point, they've already ensnared us. Unless you're not a lazy asshole, you're probably not canceling your subs in between Star Wars series, so they're getting paid regardless. And this is the type of content we get to celebrate the channel. So, be happy, right? Be happy. Hey. I mean, couldn't we get like an intro to Bad Batch Season 2 or a check-in on Bad Batch Season 2, something like that?
It says and more. Maybe there will be.
Yeah, well, that's like last year. The and more was like a 2-year-old investors sizzle for Kenobi. Like, oh, we're making Kenobi again. I mean, that's what we got last year. That and the 18-minute Boba Fett kind of, this is Boba Fett and why people like him. Because I think Disney Plus Day last year was in November or some shit. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It was later.
I'm being a fucking troll. It's all good. It's just like, I don't know. I figure if Marvel's getting multiple things, you would think Star Wars, the other big tentpole, might get multiple things too. But the forever optimist here, he does think the and more is essentially saying and more Star Wars.
To that point. It may not be Star Wars. I don't really care. Like, I don't watch shit on release anyway. So
what's Growing Up?
Out,
is that another Adam Sandler movie, or that's Grown Ups?
Oh, Growing Up, yeah, is not Adam Sandler. Grown Ups is Adam Sandler, and I think that Adam Sandler still has his exclusivity deal going with Netflix. Yeah,
he's probably looking to get the fuck out of that. I mean, Netflix is going to hell in a handbag.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what their strategy is, but they've fallen behind Disney Plus in terms of their overall subscriber numbers. I believe it's the first time ever that a streaming platform has surpassed. I think their
Netflix. Last 2 quarterly updates, they lost 2 million at one, and I believe they lost another million at the other. So
yeah. I mean, I called that
not a
while ago. I called that when Disney Plus and stuff launched because they can't capitalize off of other people's content anymore because everybody has their own streaming service. So like,
it's weird.
That's
I still find myself probably spending the most time on Netflix, either watching completely mindless shit, finding gems like RRR, going through The Sandman right now. I think that's one of the reasons we skipped House of the Dragons. Like, might as well let a few episodes build up while we're finishing The Sandman. But I'm still probably on Netflix the most. And surprisingly, Nick, Paramount Plus second. And it's because, this summer being locked up and basically laid up because of my leg, I just went nuts with reruns of anything Ink Master, like Ink Master Proper, Ink Master fucking Revenge, and Ink Master Girls, whatever. And now, like a brainless moron, I'm watching John Taffer go through and rescue bars. It's like, I'm paying $10 a month to watch reruns of fucking stupid reality TV, and I'm loving it.
You pay for the ad? You pay for the no ad tier?
Damn straight I do. That's 10 big ones, so I can get right back to the action after John Taffer shows up and the owner's all fucked up. I don't have to wait for the commercial. I can get right to him yelling at the owner being all drunk trying to save their business. So yeah, I'm a jerk off. What do you want me to say? I wrote an article on cutting the cord probably 5-6 years ago on Entertainment Buddha before it died. And I've now become that asshole that probably pays more than a cable subscription because I have 500 streaming apps that I may or may not use or know about.
Yeah. I think that somebody put out like a calculation recently that was like, if you subscribe to all of the different streaming platforms, it's like $150 a month, which is basically the same that you would have paid for cable.
I mean, I would still rather pay that because I am kind of a la carting and getting the content I want versus being forced to get Fox News and subsidize that poison. But I do that anyways because I got YouTube TV. So it's like, why not?
That is one thing that I do not like. I don't have any of the live TV services. I have Paramount Plus that I have the ad supported tier for. I have Netflix. I have the Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN bundle, and then we have HBO Max for free from our internet provider, and then we have Apple TV Plus. So
that's a good spread.
I'm pretty low in terms of like what my monthly is because we don't pay for like any of the ones that have ad supported tiers. We have the ad supported tier and not the premium one. I might even I don't know if I'll switch to Netflix ad supported or not, but yeah, I mean, I don't care about ads. It just allows me to like get up and go pee or make a drink or something like that.
See, it's weird because I feel like not that we're that different in age, but I feel like people my generation would be better suited for ad supported where people in your generation can't handle it because you probably a generation under you, but they're used to on demand at their fingertips. Give it to me now. I don't want to wait. But if you're like, hey man, you have to buy ad supported or not ad supported, I'm always going to go not ad supported because I can't fucking stand commercials. So I don't know if that's because I lived longer and was subjected to forced commercials, 5-minute blocks of the shit back in just air TV days or what, but I'm always going to be the sucker to spend the extra $5 to get no ads. So
yeah, I don't care about ads.
Well, hey,
like that's I
you're
think
a more patient man than me.
Yeah, because I grew up with regular TV, so
that's what I'm saying. I think I would be. I'm programmed. I'm conditioned to deal with commercials, but I can't. It's like my brain is revolting against its conditioning, saying no. We did this for 30 plus years. No more advertising. So all right, well,
yeah.
There you go. Basically, what we said is we spend way too much money on stupid shit that we don't really use. But that is the American way. We believe in capitalism. Spend, spend, spend. So as of right now, Disney Plus Day 2022, don't expect much in terms of Star Wars outside of Obi-Wan Kenobi, A Jedi's Return, which I will definitely watch and then vomit back up my thoughts on this humble little program you are tuned into right now. So kind of staying on the Disney Plus train. And this one, I don't know. I'm not surprised by it. I'm not going to say I'm concerned by it, but it is definitely something to think about, especially with the Andor delay and Disney Plus Day giving a big fuck you to Star Wars fans. But based on the September release schedule for Disney Plus, Nick, I think it is now safe to say that Bad Batch Season 2 is not coming. Even though we talked about that months ago, how someone was in their app, it was legit, it said 9/28, but shit's changed. Andor got pushed back 3 weeks. Who knows what type of domino effect that was going to have. But if you look at this release schedule for September 28th, it's now just listing Life Below Zero, Northern Territories, Minis, Bowtoons, Party Palace Pals, S211, The Mighty Ducks Game Changers Season 2 premiere, and Andor Episode 4. I'm not going to say this is surprising because Nick and I, we've always contended that Disney was never going to run two of its tentpole franchises properties concurrently.
Yeah.
At least for too long. So with this knowledge in tow now, are you thinking Bad Batch at this point may not release until December, which is when Andor should be coming to an end?
Yeah. But that's the thing too, is like, isn't Mando S3 December?
No, that's a hard February 23 at this point.
Oh, that's February 23rd. Yeah. Okay. Well, if there's nothing in December, then I guess they can push it back to then, or just like have it start the week after Andor ends, because that might be in. Well, yeah. Now that it got pushed out,
No,
I mean, it may end in like at the end of November, like the last week of November, right?
They actually put out the schedule, and I'm pretty sure it's mid-December, like December 17 or something. So,
or just wait till January. Like nobody, like you're not going to get watchers. We already saw that happen before with like release dates within like once you're in holiday mode on TV stuff. Like just wait till January, honestly, and then put it out then. And
yeah, because
I guess you can't do that either, right? Because then
it can impede.
You're gonna have
Mando.
if you have 16 weeks of this show, then you're gonna run into Mando no matter when you release it. So I mean, you're just kind of fucked no matter what you do at this point.
Or they do what
you're gonna have 4 months of running.
Maybe they do something like what they're doing with Marvel now. I mean, She-Hulk for some reason came out on a Thursday versus a Wednesday. I don't know why. I don't know if it's sexist. But maybe they start doing split releases, because I think aren't we supposed to get Tales of the Jedi this fall too, or is that next year? I'm off on
that was supposed to be I think that was supposed to be in September, right? Or October?
It's just fall, I think. I'm doing a quick little research here.
It says first episode date 2022. It doesn't. Yeah, it just says fall 2022 for first aired.
Yeah.
So I would imagine maybe October, because these are going to be like little shorts,
Correct.
Just like we had with Visions. So maybe they're not too concerned about that, because you're not actually like establishing canon or like telling full length stories. So maybe they're not too worried about that overlapping something else.
And again, we're the ones that made up this rule. I mean, this isn't like
That's
something
true.
that in the Disney Plus Bible, but I mean, the service has been around since 2019, and it's never happened. So we're not that far off. I mean, I don't even think they've lapped Marvel shows. It seems they all get their own week to debut, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So
at a certain point, they're going to have to break that, just because it seems like Disney Plus is going to be their primary source of content from here on out. Like they're going to be doing less like silver screen in theater movies, and they're going to be doing more Disney Plus content, because you just make more money from it.
All right, looks like
so they're going to have to break that up at some point.
Looks like Visions may indeed be a spring, so that does clear a little bit of time this fall. I'm with you though. I could see Bad Batch season 2 kind of being the gap filler in between the end of Andor and the beginning of the Mandalorian season 3. That would make the most sense to me. It'd give fans kind of something to chew on early 23, kind of build up the hype towards the Mandalorian, which more than likely will probably release towards the end of February 2023, but that is the date that Jon Favreau dropped a celebration. And then, if everything goes well, we should be... I wouldn't be surprised if Ahsoka season 1, hopefully it is going to get more seasons, will take kind of the Kenobi release window.
The March.
Yeah, like that
March
May through June type of deal.
Yeah.
But Bad Batch season 2... I know we all thought it might be coming out September 28, a week after Andor, but at this point, with all of the Disney Plus September releases being outed, it's not looking very favorable. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to check in with Clone Force 99 and their time-jumping season 2. How many years into the future, we don't know. Are they going to fold in any stories that revolve around the Alpha to her Omega? I still think there's potential there. Why not? The Fett clones, come on. There's all sorts of stories that could be told there. Cody, we know, is going to be in it. What's going on with Crosshairs? How much of the Imperial Kool-Aid has he drunk by now? And, of course, the big important debates, just like we went through with Boba Fett during the Mandalorian Season 2. How did they have time to paint their armor? Right, Nick? That's my that's the biggest mystery for me. How did they paint their armor? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that they're just not sitting there in the field with a can of paint, right? How did it happen? We need to know. That's the most important thing in this series is, where did they get the paint? How did they apply
Exactly.
it? How long did it take to
I mean,
dry?
come on. They're on the run. How could they secure paint without setting off some sort of an alert to the Imperials? Crosshair, probably is keeping tabs on them. Come on.
He's got calls out to all the paint
shops in the galaxy. That's
Rim.
right.
It's like, hey man, somebody comes in here and they buy these paint colors. You let me know.
So I don't know. I am, all jokes aside, I'm looking forward to the Bad Batch. I quite enjoyed the first season. We've talked about how it's covering this unknown period of time, which is, got a little more love through Kenobi. Might get a dash of love through Andor, even though Andor is, only 5 years away from the Battle of Yavin, but it's still kind of dipping in the pre-A New Hope timeline. So it's good stuff. Great characters, good interactions, good stories, and if you follow us on YouTube, some decent Easter eggs and top moments. Make sure to tune in to the Star Wars Time Show on YouTube anytime there is a Star Wars program airing, because my dumbass will get up early to create some content for a few people to watch. Okay. Yeah, Emerson is right. In our live stream chat here, Emerson Ford is saying the Empire put a galaxy wideband on paint because it was protecting the young denizens of the galaxy and the epidemic of huffing paint that was happening under the Republic. So this is why Sheev is doing what he's doing. He's saving the kids of the galaxy from huffing paint. Thank you,
Right.
Sheev. We speak your name.
Always had our best interest in mind. We knew that.
I do love that guy. He really is a fucking pimp. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't been bringing these to the table because I don't trust these leakers, but apparently someone's been dropping all sorts of stuff for the Acolyte. And there may or may not be connections to some people that Sheev may have hung out with at some point in his lifetime. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I just haven't. I
It's a
haven't felt like
perfect time.
I don't. They're new leakers on Reddit. I haven't seen other sites really covering it, so I kind of have been gauging
also
it that
like-
way.
Like all of these current shows that are like coming out and stuff like that, we can pretty heavily like just us knowing Star Wars shit. Like we have a good idea of what the fuck's gonna happen.
Right.
Like even in Ahsoka, which is like outside of like your standard OT timeline, more in the Mandoverse timeline, like we have a pretty good fucking idea of what's gonna happen. But like with the Acolyte, it's an untouched timeline, it's brand new characters, all this stuff. Like I don't want to know
Right.
like what's happening there before we get there, because I can't even make an educated guess as to what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think we could get an uneducated guess, which we're very good at over here on the SWTS.
we're great at those.
But I mean, if you think about the time and the title, it's going to be dealing with someone that wants to get into the dark side. So why are they doing that? Do they have the Force already? Have they seen something the Jedi do that has put them off and is driving them towards the darker side of the Force? That's about what we can project at this point in time. If it's a show called The Acolyte that deals with the dark side, more than likely this person is a Force user. We know it's going to be Amandla Stenberg, and my guess is that she sees something or something happens to her at a young age that kind of disenfranchises her with the light side of the Force and the Jedi Order, and she therefore pursues those that may dabble in the dark. The Acolyte. Done.
The Acolyte.
Take it to the bank.
Roll credits.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go.
Thank you. Written by George Lucas.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, our Bad Batch boys going to have to wait a little bit longer. I still think it's going to be a 2022 release. And I'm with Nick. I think it is going to be the and I don't even want to call it a gap fill, but kind of our animated dessert in between Andor and the Mandalorian. Not a bad fucking treat.
Yeah.
Okay, my friend Nick has got
a
an update on the KOTOR remake for you. I'm glad he covered this. I've been kind of keeping these to the wayside because whatever, it's a nothing story at this point. But some developments have happened over the past few days on the KOTOR remake, which as of last week was seemingly dead in the water. I know Nick talked about that on the solo cast 2 episodes ago. So Nick, what is now happening in the saga of the KOTOR remake, which was just announced almost a year ago at the PlayStation days here coming up in the fall?
So previously, the KOTOR remake was shelved indefinitely over at Aspire Media, a Texas-based developer, just due to the fact that development was going pretty poorly. They were over budget. Timeline was insanely longer than they expected. Initially, the game was expected to release this year. And after, seeing a demo and then hearing about all of the internal issues that were happening with the development team, Aspire said that this game basically wouldn't launch until 2025. And because of that, they shelved it. But yesterday, we learned that the Embracer Group, which is this large kind of investment group that owns a bunch of different media outlets. They own video game development studios. They own like movie studios. They own a bunch of shit. Like these are this is like a multi-billion-dollar investment group. So the Embracer Group has now shifted development away from Aspire Media to an Eastern European developer called Saber Interactive. So the game is back in active development, and it is there is no timeline for the release, but the reason for the move was Embracer Group was dead set on having this game actually come out, and two, they just didn't trust Aspire Media to like withhold quality standards, I guess you would say. So this is a quote from the Bloomberg article where this was released. It said, one of the group's AAA projects has transitioned to another studio within the group. This was done to ensure the quality bar is where we need it to be for the title. So that was like that AAA game was found out to be the KOTOR remake. But even though it has shifted over to the Saber Interactive developer, they're still analysts are still assuming that there's probably going to be 2 years before it releases. So that is where we're sitting with the game now.
And Nick,
if you look at, go ahead.
Have you looked at Saber Interactive's stable of games?
That's what I was going to say.
It's not. Yeah, it's nothing to get the warm and fuzzies over with this news. Let's just put it that way.
So Saber Interactive is what some people would call like a co-developer. Like typically what Saber Interactive does is they work with bigger studios on bigger games. So for example, CD Projekt Red partnered with Saber in 2018 for the Switch port of The Witcher 3. Then they've also worked with Microsoft and 343 on Halo, the remake of Halo Combat Evolved.
That's not, they did, and the Master Chief Collection. So like they're another studio like Aspire that kind of like does ports. They do help with remakes and stuff like that. Yeah. So they are familiar with like this remake. I'm feeling a little better.
But also I don't know, man. Like it doesn't make me feel better that they've shifted this to another studio that really hasn't built a game on their own. They're giving it to another studio that's just that's good at making ports.
Yeah, so how much soul is it gonna have? That type of deal. But
maybe that's what this Embracer Group wants. They're like, look, we don't need you to all we need you to do is make it look like it was made in 2022 and make the game function correctly. That is their minimum bar.
I don't really blame Embracer for wanting to push this through regardless, because they're not wrong. I mean, it's a Star Wars game that it's very fond to a large swath of Star Wars fans and gamers. So people like you and I, even though we've already bought this game 15 times, we're probably still going to get it day one. So they know, if anything else, they're probably going to make some money on it.
Yeah. And one thing I will say that's also making me feel really kind of iffy about this is that right off the heels of this, so yesterday is when it was announced that this was moving, Embracer was forcing the development through of this game, essentially. On August 18th, Embracer Group bought bought the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Like they straight out bought all of the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Who had it? Did EA still have it?
It's called Middle Earth. No, this is not for video games. This is for every fucking thing. This is for TV. This is for movies. This is for games.
Are we sure the Murdochs don't own Embracer? I mean, that's starting to sound like something like that.
So, I mean, it's pretty insane. It was owned by Middle Earth Enterprises, which was formerly Tolkien Enterprises.
Kids.
Yeah, I mean, it was his estate. So it feels like they're like Embracer is making this really wild like grab for properties.
Yeah.
And they're just saying like, okay, well, we're gonna make sure that this game from Star Wars gets pushed through because it's the biggest thing ever. But at the same time, we're buying all of the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit from the people who created it, essentially, and we're gonna have that too. So I don't know.
Do you remember those Lord of the Ring games from back in the day when the movies were out? They're kind of like an action game, but they were fucking awesome from EA.
Yeah. No, those were like some of the better like movie-oriented games.
Yeah, it was like the first time they were ever able to successfully capture the high of the film and the plot almost and make it a video game without it being completely disconnected from the movie universe.
And I mean, even the last two Lord of the Rings games that released, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, were both good very well received.
At some point in time, there was a great like RTS Lord of the Rings game, unit builder. I think that's what they're called. You got to build a farm to make food. You got to build a gym to make warriors, that type of shit. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. They are definitely going through, eating up some pop culture gems, probably just trying to make a quick buck, which I think I'm with you. You probably don't feel good about that because it probably is more about making money than making quality entertainment.
Because as soon as they got, like, they bought the rights to Lord of the Rings on the 18th, and the statement that came out is like, we're making new movies, we're making new games, making new this, we're making new that. And they were already like, we're planning on doing a Gollum spinoff movie, and we're going to do a Gandalf spinoff movie, and we're going to do. I was like, dude,
well, there's supposed to be a Gollum game. I think it's been delayed.
Yeah, there is a Gollum game. Yeah, because I've seen like gameplay from that. But honestly,
that's not good because
it sounds like Disney when they bought Star Wars. They're like, we're doing all this, and then we saw how that played out.
I'm just surprised because I don't know shit, but I know some things. And I always felt like the Tolkien estate was very protective of the license and would only kind of lease it out for, for movies, or you can do games or you can do books, but it's got to be this. It can't be that. It's got to look like that.
Yeah, because it was a huge deal for... like for Amazon to get, like, they didn't even buy they just licensed the rights, and it was $250 million to license it.
They're just selling it now. So it's almost like the new generation has taken over, the ones that have been rich their whole lives, and they're just like, fuck all this wheeling and dealing and lawyers and Zoom calls. Just fucking sell it. Who cares? It's like, George, like, I don't want to deal with it anymore. Someone else fucking take it. Well, that's a shame.
I don't know how many Tolkiens there are left, and I think what the problem is like Christopher Tolkien, he was the one who was like the steward of
he was the Dave Filoni to George Lucas for JRR.
Yes. Exactly. He died in 2020, so he's been dead for about 2 years now, and I just don't think that any of the other family members.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Like there's like great grandsons, and there's great.
That's what I'm saying. It's like all the young shitheads that were born into Tolkien royalty are like, we don't want to deal with this. Who gives a fuck what great grandpa cared about and him wanting to keep things, kind of small and keep them. Who gives a fuck? Just give me that billion.
Yeah. So, I mean,
just drops the money off. They're like, sweet, we don't have to fucking deal with this crap anymore. Throw out these unabridged novels and unfinished tales. Get this shit out of here.
Yeah, so it makes me nervous that that's the group that also has control of this game.
They really were. They are going to be
uh,
making like stick figure games at this point. Lord of the Rings,
like,
slap the title on it, it will sell to somebody. Because they're out
that's
there.
how
I mean,
they're going.
At one point in time, I almost became as big of a Star Wars fanboy with Lord of the Rings and Tolkien. And yeah, I'm still up there. I would consider myself fanboy light with Tolkien stuff. But this sounds kind of sacrilegious just based on what I know of the man and how he kind of wanted things left.
Yeah, like
money's
you
money.
Literally just like it stayed like the content and the lore and everything in the Tolkien universe stayed sacred and almost untouched until now.
Yeah.
Like until
so it is. The young kids fuck it up. They fuck everything up. You're going to be able to go to the head shop now and get Bilbo Boggins. You know?
License it, man.
With fucking Elijah's face, too. Like, you're going to be smoking out Elijah's face and his Bilbo Boggins. My God, dude. Fucking shit. Well, dude,
so that's what we got to look forward to. In the Lord of the Rings verse, like
see, Star Wars fans, you should feel good that a company like Disney bought Lucasfilm and not some fucking crazy multimedia conglomerate that's probably owned by the Saudis and Russians and every other seedy character on this planet.
It's wild, man. So we'll see how that goes. But so I within the next 2 years, at least according to what Embracer Group wants, we should see the release of KOTOR Remake
and Lord of the Rings, a Harfoot story, right? You'll get a story on the Harfoots and the Harefoots and the blunderbuss. It's like, come on.
All of them. They'll take KOTOR, they'll reskin it to be Lord of the Rings, so you'll have a duo pack. You can buy the Knights of the Old Republic remake and the skinned version.
Hey, you want a Ring Wraith
game?
and KOTOR? Come to us. Buy the DLC, Lord of the Rings X Star Wars. It's like, fuck, that's right, dude. Man. You know now the KOTOR remake is literally going to be just a reskin of the old engine. So they're going to be like all sweet looking, but they're still going to move like you have to stop and plug in all your lightsaber swings. You go whack, 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 whack. It's like, all right, we got it. We got it out the door though. Embracer, woo, Tolkien. Wow, that's terrible. I need to dive into that. Now, I need to dive into that because that worries me. That's scary about the Tolkien stuff. Okay,
I saw it and I was like,
yeah, that's not good.
That's the end of our stories, though. We told you guys that it was a light Star Wars news week,
but that allows us to have some fun.
Still good.
And we're gonna do a little special topic on Andor. That Andor still has the main focus. It's coming out September 21st, 3-part premiere. And remember, those 3 episodes will kind of tell a standalone tale to kind of introduce you to Cassian, the world, and kind of get him into the wider galactic conflict. So we still got a few weeks to go, and I'm sure we'll have a predictions show, but we figured because we had some time today, screw the predictions, let's just get selfish and get into what we want to see as fans. You know, if we were writing the script, if we had control over what type of content we could see in Andor Season 1, this is what we want to see. So I asked Nick to come up with his 5 wants. I came up with my 5 wants. So let's kind of see where our 2 bozo asses are taking our version of Andor. All right, Nick, why don't you go ahead and start with your first want, see if we align or if it's your own want.
My number one want, and I think that this may fall on your list as well, is the big blue guy. We need Thrawn.
I left him off because I felt a tremor in the Force, and I thought you would do him. So good, but I agree 100%.
Yeah, I mean Thrawn is. We talked about it a little bit last week. We know that Thrawn during this time period is a major player. He's either already a Grand Admiral, given like depending on the timeline that we work in, whether it's young Cassian timeline or older Cassian timeline, or he is still high ranking within the Imperial Navy superstructure.
Oh, he should be. So, I mean, I don't know if he's grand, but I'd say he's definitely an admiral 5 years before the Battle of Yavin. So
yeah, so we need to have him in the show just because he is going to be the one, especially around this time, that's dealing with the rebel cells and stuff like that. Like that was what he was doing. Like he was the one who was working on that TIE Defender project, but he was also responsible for like stamping out these little cells.
Phoenix in particular, what became his bane.
Yes, that was like his ultimate downfall was Phoenix Squadron, as we know from Rebels. But I want to see, like, does he ever tangle with Saw Gerrera? Does he ever have any dealings with Mon Mothma, especially since Mon Mothma is a high-ranking senator? Thrawn was known to kind of mingle in some of those circles at certain points in his career with the Empire. So I'm really interested to see, one, I think he should be in there, and two, if he is in there, I want to see exactly how they use him. Because I think he's so totally important.
I'm with you 100%, and I think it could kind of. We don't need heavy doses of the blue guy. In fact, I would prefer more casual mentions or a quick hit scene. You know what I want to see, Nick, with Thrawn, which would really get me excited and may even cause me to pop wood, is a simple Imperial roundtable meeting, kind of like the one we saw in A New Hope on the Death Star. But at the seats, we've got Tarkin, Krennic, Thrawn, maybe Galen Erso is sitting in on the meeting.
At Callus, even like back then,
Agent Callus.
Switched sides yet?
Right, but I want to see Thrawn in a meeting that's not necessarily his meeting. I just want to see him interacting with the Imperials at that level. Like, I don't want to say they're his peers, because I don't think Thrawn, not that I know him, I don't read the books, I'm stupid, but I don't think Thrawn ever considered anyone else in the Imperial Navy his peer. Is that a correct statement?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Like he was, and it wasn't like a selfish self-confidence thing. It's just that, like, the way that the Chiss species works is like they're a relatively emotionless type of species, but he just knew that he was smarter than everybody, and it wasn't like him trying to boast. He just was smarter than everybody.
Yeah, it wasn't worth his time to ask for advice because it would be bad. Yeah, exactly. Are they kind of like Vulcans almost in terms of their emotions?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, they're kind of like Vulcans. Like they do. Like in the books, like you read scenes about like he feels a twinge of emotion every now and then, but like he is basically like Spock, where he's just kind of
none of his actions are guided by emotion. Then
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean something simple. I don't think he can be a main anything. I think I don't want to call it a throwaway scene, but it would be just like a meeting of the who's who of the Imperials type of meetings. I think just having him even say like, Krennic, your fucking Death Star is stupid. We should do my TIE Defender plan. To which someone else chimes in like, shut the fuck up, blue guy, and here we go. So yeah, it's something like that. I think, I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're saving that wad blow for Ahsoka. But I do agree with where you were going with this last week. I think it would be a huge, huge win to kind of get a little Thrawn pop up in Andor just to prime everyone for his what should be a main role in the Ahsoka series. So, yes. All right. Okay, so for my first one in Andor Season 1, Nick, I'm going to stick along kind of the same lines. It's not identical. But I really want to see a Mon Mothma / Senator's interaction with Palpatine. Either in the Senate or via a hologram. I want to see Mon Mothma and other senators interacting with the Emperor after he's been Emperor now for, 8 years, something like that. What does that look like? Is it laughable? Is it a big joke?
Yeah.
Does he come in and pretend like he's actually listening to them and wanting to help them with their issues? Or is it just a big charade? So I would like to see something like that.
Yeah. I think a Senate scene is almost necessary because like we know the ultimate fate of the Senate. It gets dissolved right at the beginning of A New Hope. But we also know that the Senate is essentially where the rebellion is born out of.
Right.
Like it was the it was initially like the group of 100 senators that had formed this secret alliance together, and that's kind of where the rebellion sprung out of. And from those senators, you had little cells starting to pop up and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's like a truly necessary scene, is to see what the state of the Senate is
and
for sure.
And we know we're going to get a Senate scene. I mean, we've seen him in the trailer. So my caveat is I want Palpatine involved in that scene somehow, even if they're just watching another one of his speeches and Mon Mothma's rolling her eyes like, how did we let this happen again? Like, how fucking stupid are we? So,
do we have confirmation either via leaks or something, or like set photos that had leaked that Ian is in this show?
No, just
I can't remember.
He just did that. It was around, I think it was a little bit before Kenobi, and he essentially said like, hey, there's a few properties coming up that my character would make sense to be in. And we're like, all right, well, Kenobi, that's like 100% sense, and it sure as shit it paid off. But yeah, he's not confirmed for Andor, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get at least another holo cameo like he showed up in Kenobi. Although they didn't use Palpatine at all in Rogue One, like not even a sliver. So Gilroy, and Gilroy knows best. So he might be like, fuck Palpatine. He's too big for my movie. He's not big enough. He's not big enough for my movie. He's not. He doesn't have the depth, and he's not in the Wikipedia canon.
Tony Gilroy always thought that Palpatine was just a poorly written character. Right, so he's like, well, Palpatine, in my show, he's just not around.
Palpatine, Schmalpatine.
He's
He gives
on
a fuck
vacation.
about that guy. Yeah. We don't need any stinking Palpatine in Andor. I'm Tony Gilroy, bitch.
That's right.
Okay, Nick,
good.
Number two.
I really want to see if Tim makes his way into this show. Okay, so my want is somehow either to have like a Bad Batch crossover, or like have Tim make his way into this show as one of the named clones, either from the Bad Batch or that we knew from Clone Wars, because I mean, Bad Batch and Andor are essentially just working within the same exact timeline. Like we're like talking about if we assume that the Bad Batch is going to go for years, they will almost surely intermingle with what's going on in the Andor timeline. I mean, both in the past younger Cassian timeline and in the older Cassian timeline.
Yeah, I don't think Bad Batch Season 2 is going to go that far into the future, but you are correct. I mean, they do live in what we're going to call the A New Hope timeline. Well, at this point, we should probably call it the pre-Rogue One timeline.
Yeah.
So I dig that. I actually have something very similar, so we're almost spot on to this one. You know who might make a good Tem named clone would be Rex, because if you think about it, even more so than the Bad Batch, or at least what we saw in Season 1, Rex was already saying he's working with a resistance movement, him and Ahsoka. So, resistance movement back at the beginning of the Empire is what becomes the rebellion ultimately by A New Hope. So, Rex is already knee deep. We know for a fact he's knee deep in rebelling as soon as the Empire takes over. Bad Batch, they're still trying to figure out, what do we do now? Season 1 was, they still more or less did what they were built to do. They went out, kicked ass, took names, and saved people, and ultimately did stuff for good guys. But they weren't fully dedicated, even by the end of Season 1, to, hey, we need to join Rex in the Resistance. They were dealing with their own family shit with Crosshair, and so I'm with you. And so here's mine, just to kind of dovetail, because it's almost the same thing. Live action clones interacting with stormtroopers, the galaxy, whatever. And I think we can guarantee we're going to get live action clones, because I think they've shown up in some of the trailers. But Nick kind of took it one step further. So if there's live action clones, there's potential for Tem getting involved and a helmet getting removed and maybe a conversation taking place with a live action clone that might be already joined with one of these rebel cells. So, I think that would be fucking fantastic. I mean, anytime you can get Tem onto a live action property to bring a clone, either new or existing name clone to life, I think that's a win.
Yeah, 100%. All right. My next one. This is going to be a stretch. This is definitely going to be a stretch. But if we could see Baze and Chirrut in this somehow, I think that would be a huge win. Those were two of the favorite characters from the Rogue One timeline. We already knew that they were kind of mixed up in rebellion on Jedha at the time of Rogue One. I don't know how far back they went in terms of like their involvement with like rebel cells or anything like that, because we know that both of them were involved in as guardians of the Temple of the Wills. And we know that basically as soon as the Imperial reign kicked in, that everything around the Temple of the Wills and how that was being treated at the time changed, because, you know, all shit around Jedi and Force, like, you know, having Force sensitive kind of beliefs and stuff out there was essentially squashed. So I think it would be cool if we could bring those characters back in some way. We may have the opportunity. I mean, we're definitely going to be on Jedha again. Like we saw in the trailer, we saw scenes where we were at Saw Gerrera's compound or his hideout on Jedha.
I don't know if that was Jedha yet. I can't say one way or the other. Jedha to me seemed more sandy than where they were at here. This one seemed a little more green.
Gotcha.
But hey, listen, I'm with you because I don't. It's not like Baze and Chirrut are directly attached to the character of Cassian, so that's your problem. Like they had zero relation. The only reason they got mixed up is because Jyn Erso, more or less, and you know they just kind of through circumstance kind of got mixed together. It's not like Cassian was meeting with them and they were contacts of his. But you could casually, you know, introduce them, background, maybe even radio chatter, if we get to see Jedha kind of before it becomes overtaken by the Imperials. You know, literally having a Star Destroyer sit on top of its main city. So I don't know. I mean, is Tony going to go back and revisit some Rogue One locations to kind of show us what it was like before shit was getting dire for non-Imperials and those that wanted to rebel? I don't know. The guy's hard to read. It's like it seems like if it's something that fans would love, he would be against it. So I don't know. But and these are our wants, these are our wishes, as if we were writing the script. And I do think there's a place for them. It's just how do you introduce them, because they don't have a direct connection to Cassian. So maybe season 2. I don't know, but I would like to check out Jedha prior to what we saw it become in Rogue One itself, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree, for sure.
I mean, really, that's a planet that I would assume has been explored in the High Republic, you would think.
Maybe, yeah, because that temple is pretty old.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like those fallen statues, and they looked like they were down for hundreds of years. The ones, you know, out in the desert where they met with Bodhi and did the prisoner exchange and shit like that. So, but I think it has place. It definitely would. I mean, Cassian will eventually have a tie to it. So I'm with you. I was struggling, like how much Rogue One stuff are we going to try to get into Andor? So, and as I say,
that's the hard part.
My number 3 is I want to see, and this could be a dumb one, but I want to see how he gets his U-wing, because the U-wing, I mean, it was his in K2s by the time we meet him in Rogue One, and in Star Wars, ships are kind of a character. Luke and Red 5, even though a bunch of people had X-Wings, but Luke had Red 5. The most obvious one, Han and the Falcon. Newer ones, you've got, you know, Hera and the Ghost. And then you had Cassian and the U-Wing, and that's the first time we ever saw the U-Wing. It's an iconic design. It's one that has now popped up in other Star Wars properties because of its introduction in Rogue One. So I want to see it is a big thing getting your own ship in Star Wars. Not all. I mean, look at the focus put on ships just in the Mandalorian between the Razor Crest and now his new one. I mean, there was essentially an episode dedicated to Mando getting his new ship. So it's not something odd to kind of want to see how a dude gets his whip. So
yeah, absolutely.
You know, did he steal it? Did the rebellion gift it to him based on completing crazy missions for them? I don't know. So I want to see, does that get addressed, or is it truly just, hey, we need a ship for this new Cassian guy. Oh, that U-wing's open over there. All right, that's his ship. So even I'd even take that.
Yeah, I know. It's because like a U-wing, like it's not something that he could inherit from Marva, because a U-wing is like a combat vessel.
Correct.
Like it's not
for the Rebel fleet,
standard,
like literally X-wing, A-wing, B-wing, Y-wing, U-wing. Like it's particularly made for this purpose.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's not like something that Marva Andor would just have because she was previously very well off. It's not like a transport vessel or something like that. So yeah, I mean, like maybe that's like a test vessel. Yeah, I think that's a good call. That would be something cool to see. All right, my next one, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about like the animated characters, maybe bringing in some Bad Batch stuff, but Fulcrum. I mean, Ahsoka as Fulcrum. If we're gonna bring in Rex, then her as Fulcrum would also make sense in this show.
Even more sense than the clones for sure, because she introduces the clones to the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, so her being a part of this is almost like, I don't want to say necessary, but it would just make so much sense, especially in the early days of formation of the rebel cells and the rebellion as a whole, because that's what she did. That was her whole fucking bag. Like, once everything went down, she was the one that was out there,
literally
like,
from day one,
helping to organize.
The moment her and Rex crash landed that Republic Star Cruiser on that planet and buried, Jesse and all the other 332nd, they got to work. And that was verified in Bad Batch season 1 when Rex shows up. I think the second episode, he's literally like, he's on the comms to Ahsoka, and he tells him like, hey, we're getting a resistance going on, more or less. Dude, I mean, Ahsoka in this series, as you said, makes a ton of sense, not only for the timeline and what the character was doing with the rebels, but again and I know Tony's project isn't part of the Mandoverse, but I feel, as Nick does with Thrawn, for the fandom at large, not for nuts like us, these through lines with these characters that started in cartoons that have now showed up in live action, it just adds to the storytelling in the universe for the casual fans. It's like, oh, there's that orange girl. I remember her from Mandalorian. She was doing this shit all the way back then. I think those are cool moments for all Star Wars fans. Obviously, us hardcore types, we're going to get more out of that. It would be more religious to us. We'll dive into it. We'll speculate on it. We'll try to figure out the secrets of the universe. But just for the more casual types, like my wife, or whenever Nick can talk Taylor into this type of stuff, it gives them like, okay, I'm starting to see how big this world is and how these characters are interconnected and how all these stories of Star Wars in some form or fashion have a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon feeling to them, where any character in any Star Wars property is probably connected to another Star Wars character in another Star Wars property. And like you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, especially you live streamers, but I believe Ahsoka as Fulcrum was the main impetus for folding the Ghost Crew into Phoenix Squadron.
I also believe that.
I believe that was kind of the connection there. Like, hey, you guys, here's Sato and Phoenix, you would make a good fit. So like you're saying, dude, she makes more sense really than any cameo we would want. She makes more sense than Thrawn, although even then, having her in the same property with Thrawn just adds more through lines, more connections to what we're going to see in her own show.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, is like, it may not seem like it now, but Andor has a very strong possibility of being super referential towards Ahsoka because of not only the time period that you're working, I mean, not really the time period that you're working in, but because of the players who were around during Andor and the players who are still around during the Ahsoka timeline. So like there could be like, again, I don't know how much Gilroy worked with
that's the problem. It's the Gilroy. Like if it wasn't Gilroy and it was Dave and John, I think all this would be a no-brainer. But with Gilroy and his statement last week, well, there's this canon, that canon, Pablo's canon, fan canon. You got to go like, whoa, what? Fan canon? That's not even real. That doesn't work. Fan and canon, those are two words that don't go together.
Yeah, it's like you're talking about fan fiction. That is a thing, but that should not be taken into account at all.
Yeah, so it's just how much does a guy like Gilroy give a fuck about through lines and interconnectivity? That's what I'm concerned about. And Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to speak for you, but when we're talking about seeing these characters, they're not going to be a major role. It could be a blip, like, oh, hey, Fulcrum just reported, blah blah blah. That would be good, right? Like we don't even need to see Rosario. It's just either a hologram or someone passes on a communication from Fulcrum to Cassian.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
I mean,
we know what you're saying. I get you and I appreciate you. That's the type of shit we like.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, it does not, like, we don't have to have, Rosario and full makeup on screen, anything like that, but like communicate just like what we saw in Bad Batch, where it was just like Rex on the comms talking to Ahsoka. Like, it doesn't have to be like a main character type of role, but it should be referenced or brought up.
It's the small things, people. We've been trying to tell you all along. I know I appear crazy at times, but it's just little stuff. It's little things make us happy when it comes to that far, far away galaxy. All right, well, you know what? I'm gonna piggyback my fourth off of that one because it kind of fits. And it goes right into the discussion we were having and kind of tying animation to live action and live action to animation, so on and so forth. So I would like to get at least one, maybe two if we're lucky, Phoenix Squadron mentions. And if you think about it, at this point in time, it truly would just be Phoenix, Sato's group. I don't think the Ghost crew have joined up with Phoenix at this point in time. But I'd like hearing, a mention about Sato, or a mention about this Ghost crew on Lothal stirring things up, and maybe we should reach out to them. That right there would be like, fuck you, Tony Gilroy, I love you. That's the shit I need. It could just be a line of dialogue, but my friends, just like George told us and Dave is telling us now, it's that interconnectivity between these properties, between the different trilogies and timelines that makes Star Wars so great, so big, and why so many goofy people like me dedicate actual life to it beyond just consuming it. So just mentions of Phoenix or the Ghost crew. I don't need to see live action Hera yet. Go ahead and save that for Ahsoka. I don't need to see live action Sabine. Save that for Ahsoka. We've already seen live action Chopper, so he can show up. We've seen live action Ghosts. We maybe get a shot of its tailpipes. I don't know. But just casual passing by, casual dialogue that it references Lothal, Ghosts, or the Phoenix Squadron. That would definitely check off this box for me.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So last one for me is going to be, it's not really a want. It's more of like, I'm interested to see this. And it's how they handle the whole Vader and Tarkin aspect of this show.
Oh.
Because you can't get around how important to the overall galactic, superstructure that those two are. I feel like you may be able to get away with not having Vader, but Tarkin's is such an important Tarkin is such an important part of just how the Empire functioned on a day-to-day basis at this point, that it would be hard not to incorporate him into this show. We already know from Rogue One that they digitally recreated him with almost no issue. Obviously, like
it would look even better at this point in time.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to think Rogue One's fucking 6 years old at this point. Yeah,
I think so.
It'll be 6 years this December.
Yeah, so having him back in there, are they going to broach that? Are they going to reapproach like the full digital remake of Tarkin again? And if they do, what role will he play? Because realistically, like Krennic was the Death Star guy. Like that was his thing. Like he was super.
Tarkin came in at the end,
like
most CEOs do, and took it from him and claimed credit.
So we may not see all that much of Krennic because that was his only focus. And right now, in a galactic sense, we're really not focused on the Death Star. The development is still in like the earlier phases. It's not nearing completion like it was during the Rogue One timeline. So like interacting all that much with Krennic outside of like the storylines around, maybe kidnapping these scientists and engineers that you need to build it, he's probably not going to be that involved, but like Tarkin should be. So I'm really interested to see how they use him, if it's going to be in like hologram form, if they're going to do a full digital recreation again, and what role he plays in the show.
Well, you're spot on with Tarkin and his role with the Empire at this point in time, and really since the inception. If you go back to Bad Batch Season 1, who's the guy that essentially sets the direction for the clones and then the soon-to-be conscripts, stormtroopers? It's all Tarkin.
Yeah. I mean, it was
Tarkin's the first one to say, "Listen, motherfuckers, I don't think we can sustain this clone program because we're cheap. I don't care how good they are; it costs too much money." Rampart figures something out. All right, Rampart figures out, let's just conscript motherfuckers, people that want to fight for the Empire, and here we go. So, and then he eventually becomes the Grand Moff, and at least when I was a little kid, I thought Tarkin was the number one. I mean, if you go back and watch A New Hope, Darth Vader is so subservient to this man, it is sad. It's so sad Leia drops that burn on him like, the whole leash line, essentially calling Vader Tarkin's dog. Now, it's funny to think about it with hindsight at this point in time, but Tarkin could treat Vader like a little bitch. The only other person that could do that in the Empire was Sheev. It's amazing to think. It really, if you think about now, knowing what we know about Darth Vader, the fact that he didn't instantly force choke Tarkin to death or just chop his head off on the Death Star is mind-boggling. But it also shows you how far Anakin had fallen by that time, and he truly was just a machine that was only going to do what his master wanted him to do, even if that meant becoming a lapdog of someone underneath you. It's like, so Nick is right. I mean, Tarkin is a huge presence in the Empire, especially during Andor Season 1. I mean, we're talking about the Empire at its peak. It's probably peaking at this point, because we can argue it's starting to come off its peak, and the Empire is destroyed 10 years after Andor Season 1, give or take a few galactic years. Yeah. So,
and like
Tarkin has a place, but again, how's he used? I don't think Gilroy would rely on him for a heavy dose of screen time. It could also, again, just be relegated to communications, meeting memos, or just name drops.
Yeah, exactly. So he should be a big part of the show. It just really depends on, one, if Gilroy wanted to go the route of the full digital recreation, or like you said, just kind of keep it to hollow recordings and like voice communication. So that was my fifth one. So what do you close?
Well, I mean, honestly, it's on the same path, and I just typed down allusions to the Death Star project, which obviously Tarkin would be attached to, Krennic would be attached to, Ursa would be attached to. And when I say allusions, I'm not talking about like visual stuff. I'm like, I want to hear the Empire or even the Rebels allude to this big secret thing that they've heard the Empire is up to. Because even by the time we get to Rogue One, I mean, his main mission, he's on a lead to find out what the fuck the Death Star is, even though they don't know it's the Death Star. I mean, he's on that planet to... And that's the best part about what Gilroy's told us. We're going to see how he gets himself on that planet and murders his contact. But he's ultimately, Cassian will be put on the path to figure out what all this buzz is about the Empire's new secret weapon. So I just want to get further development of that in Andor Season 1. And it should even be regressed a bit because we're 5 years prior. We might even get a mission that might be tangentially involved with the Death Star, but the rebels don't know it's the Death Star. That's the type of stuff, and that's where Tarkin could come into play. What's Krennic doing on that project? Or has Krennic gotten Urso to give him the goods? Just little shit like that. It's always going to be the connective tissue for me. The little stuff. Yeah. Like I said, I don't give about the visuals. I don't give a shit about the VFX. As long as the narrative's there and it's paying off on teases or kind of laying groundwork for future content, I'm all for it. So let's get some allusions to the Death Star, which could also play into Nick's Thrawn thing. Let's get that conference talk going on where people are laying down their we should redirect this money from Krennic's project to Thrawn, or no, we should keep it on Krennic's project. Or Tarkin saying, well, God damn it, I'm going to take it over because Krennic can't get it done. Yeah. It might sound boring on paper or as we're spitballing it here, but I don't know. The Star Wars fan in me, I think I'd have a blast being a fly on the wall in an Imperial meeting room. I don't know why that sounds like fun to me, but I want to get down.
But just imagine though, as a more casual fan, knowing that there was a completely separate project that could have been in place that wasn't the Death Star. The Empire, it wasn't like this was their end all be all. Like they had a whole other project that was far into development and testing that could have taken the place of the Death Star. I thought that even for a casual fan, I think that could be pretty interesting. So
no, that is big because if you're not in the know with Star Wars, it's just Death Star 2, Star Killer Base. Man, these people really like their big ass globes of death. Well, there was conversations, and there were some factions within the Empire making arguments like, listen, should we really put literally all of our eggs in one blow-upable basket? Maybe not. Where Thrawn's like, their navy's small enough that I could fucking rout them with better TIE fighters. Is essentially what he was saying. Like the rebels have so few resources available that if we just hammer them in the skies and take out their fleet, it's over.
That's right. Yeah. So,
well, there you go.
I think that closed. That's our top 5 once.
Matt and Nick's 10 once for Andor Season 1. Like I said, as we get closer to the premiere of Episode 1, 2, and 3, we'll probably do some predictions because we always like to beat our chests and let everyone know how freaking smart we are when it comes to guessing about science fiction properties. That means nothing and gets you nothing tangible in life, but we love it. That's why we do it. All right, dude. You know what? We do have some time, so why not? Let's get a little Matt Mando game. It's been months since this has happened. I think the last time we did this was prior to Star Wars Celebration. If you're new here, Nick has this card game that has the Mandalorian trivia on it, I believe, for seasons 1 and 2. And he asked me questions. There's scoring, there's helplines, and usually I get them all correct because I have an uncanny ability to store useless information in my brain that does not translate into any type of monetization.
It's true.
So here we go. What are we doing? 5 questions, 10 questions?
5.
All right.
5 questions.
And I get 1 lifeline, right?
And you get... So basically the way that'll work is there is a question on here that comes with multiple choice. So first I will present Matt with the question without the multiple choice responses.
Right.
And then he can ask for the multiple choice
which drops,
if he needs it.
That drops me down to 5 points instead of 10 per question. We'll make it easy. Okay. All right.
So that's how it works. So for those of you who are interested, you can get this card game. You can get this card game on Amazon. Just search the Mandalorian card trivia, and you should find it. And all right, so we'll kick it off. I got 5 questions here. First one: is which planet is Cara Dune originally from?
Alderaan. Take it to the bank.
Correct.
Yeah!
To the bank. 5
Fuck you,
points.
Alex. All right.
5
next.
out of 5. Next up. What ancient creature is depicted on the Mandalorian's necklace?
Oh, come on. Mythosaur.
Yeah, correct.
Get some.
Mythosaur.
It's tattooed on
I
Nick's
didn't
fucking
say-
arm.
It's right, yeah. I do have a tattoo on my left arm. Got it at Star Wars Celebration.
All right, come on. 2 for 2. Here we go. Can't
next
stop
up,
me now.
Which planet did Ahsoka Tano instruct the Mandalorian to take the child to?
Fuck! Oh, shit.
You're going to know it as soon as I say.
No,
the
I know it.
multiple
Like it's on the
choice.
top of my tongue. Oh, fuck. I'm going to have to go with the multiple choice.
Okay, so multiple choice is A, Tython.
What a loser.
B,
That's it. Tython. Fuck!
It's Tython.
Stupid! Idiot!
So
Dude,
now-
all my brain could muster was Corvus, because that was the planet we
'Cause
meet
that was
her
where they
on. and
started.
That's
Yeah.
where we meet her, but I knew that wasn't where the Seeing Stone was at. Damn it!
Right.
Now I'm gonna have to go outside and punch myself in the dick.
So we're at 25 out of a possible 30 points now. But
Now,
hey,
mind you,
still
I still haven't missed the question, but I had to cheat.
Still have not missed
which to me is you might as well just miss it. Okay, all right.
Oh man. Okay, so this one is what type of metal is Beskar?
What?
I know this is actually difficult.
What type of metal is Beskar? I thought Beskar was the type of metal. So I'm gonna say it's Mandalorian metal.
No. Okay, so here's the
right, give me
multiple
the options.
choices. Platinum, brass, or steel.
What the fuck? It's
It's on the
Beskar.
cards. It's a fit. These are officially licensed.
All right, whatever. Platinum.
No, it is steel.
Get the fuck out of here. How can something be steel and Beskar? There's 2 different things. It's like saying, I have bronze and steel bronze. It doesn't work.
So on the Star Wars wiki, it says Beskar, also known as Mandalorian iron or Mandalorian steel.
See, I said Mandalorian metal, right? Didn't I? To start.
You did say Mandalorian
Yeah, I'm
metal.
taking it. Do. Hey, send it up to the office. What do they say? I need a ruling on this.
I will give it to you. I'll
right,
say
thank
that is an appropriate.
Phew, I was starting to feel bad about this is one of my worst outings yet. I've had to go to the bank
I will
twice.
say that I had never really heard Beskar referred to as steel before. So that's the first time that I've heard
but
of it.
hey, whatever. If it's in the wiki, it's in the wiki. It just makes no sense. It's like saying I have diamond. You know,
Yeah,
I have steel.
Yeah, so that's what it was. For those of you out there who were wondering if it was based off of or is a real type of metal, it is apparently steel. And this next one, this will be an easy one to close it out for you.
All right.
On which planet would you find the town Mos Pelgo?
Tatooine, Nick.
Correct.
Yay!
Tatooine.
Yeah, eat it.
There we go.
Well, I usually
we go.
perform better. I mean, I know I still didn't miss any, but I had to go to the well twice, and that just makes me feel like a loser. But I will say that Beskar question was bullshit. So thank you.
That Beskar one is tricky.
Thank you for the clarification and the ruling from the man above. I appreciate it. We'll be back again next time we don't have a bunch of topics to play the Matt Mando game. All right.
There we go. So yes, thank you for those of
Beskar
you.
Steel. What the fuck is that?
Beskar Steel.
All right.
We have to call up Dave Filoni on that. Is Beskar really steel? Tell me. I know you know.
It just. Oh well, I'm not going to sit here and lose more life wondering about terms from a fictional universe, but it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like I've got gray steel, I've got blue steel. It's all fucking steel still. I thought Beskar was Beskar.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right. Okay, well, Nick, it is time to move episode 227 into the fan segment. That's right, you heard it correctly. The Star Wars Time Show dedicates a segment to its fans every single week. So come and get some. We are here for you. We just wish you were here for us. So there's 2 ways to get involved in the Star Wars Time Show fan segment. Up first, we do the question of the week, which gets posted on our Instagram account at Star Wars Time Show, typically Tuesday mornings in the stories and in the post feed. So let's go ahead and check that out. All we ask you to do to get involved with the question of the week is to leave a comment. Either respond to the story itself or go ahead and leave a comment on the post to let us know what you are thinking about said question. And this week's question was another banger, another one that got some thoughts flowing. And it was, just like Nick and I got to play, what character or what event do you want to see in Andor Season 1?
Right.
Okay.
All right.
You notice I just started taking full grabs of the stories now so we can have their names. So
Yeah.
go ahead. I like when you read them better.
Right.
So
Yeah. So a Star Wars Toy Story says, Thrawn, after you guys brought that up last week, it makes perfect sense. I think it would be a great surprise since no one is expecting him until Ahsoka, and he's just my all-time favorite.
There you go. Great minds think alike. Thank you, a Star Wars Toy Story. But more importantly, thank you for actually listening to this dumb shit and retaining some information. We speak your name.
There you go. He remembered. Yes,
I know,
he
like...
remembered that we wanted it. I think this person, the Star Wars, like it's what is it? The Star Wars photographer. He actually responded in both. With both the same answer in the comments and the stories.
Right.
So he says, Vader slaughtering innocent children.
Wow.
I don't know.
A well-adjusted individual right there, but we speak your name.
I don't know if we'll get that because it seems like all the kids he needed to kill may have been killed during the Purge and Revenge of the Sith. But
yeah, that and we saw him, he wiped out at least one in the Kenobi series. So maybe he's taking a break for now and hanging out. But
maybe he's got honestly, like a list of kids stored. That he goes and he kills one every now and then. I
don't think you get Vader at all in Andor, sadly.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that will probably.
Now I'll pull up your mega block here.
My mega block. And you can see right in the middle of the mega block, the Star Wars photographer
Star Wars photographers all over the
Vader
murder of innocent children. So
he wants to see him. Anyway. Next up is the Onami Collection. Onami Collection on Instagram. He says, I'm kind of interested in seeing Maz Kanata's role.
Huh?
So it's interesting that he brings that up because I don't know. I mean, Maz Kanata is definitely alive. Like she's around clearly. But do we have any inkling that she has anything to do with this rebellion at this point? Like,
no. I mean, all I can tell you is literally in Han Solo and Chewbacca number 5, which takes place before. Hell, it honestly might be taking place right around the Andor timeline, to be honest with you, because it definitely takes place before A New Hope. But Chewbacca gets thrown into prison and he gets put into a cell, and Maz Kanata's in the cell. So,
gotcha.
I don't remember her being a major player in the rebellion, but clearly she is one that believes in resistance. So I'm not saying she wouldn't be involved in the early movements of rebel cells. But in terms of this, Ami or O-Name, whatever the fuck this person's handle is, just kind of saying like this is implied going to happen. I don't know. Unless she deals intel out. I could see that. I mean, clearly someone like Maz running that castle, dealing with scoundrels and smugglers and bounty hunters would clearly be coming across information that could be of interest to someone like Cassian. So I guess
it wouldn't be. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be too off base to see him stop by the castle either, like knowing that it is this
den of
kind of hub,
hive and scum and villainy. So that's where you're going to get the information. So I don't know. I don't remember reading anything like guaranteeing that she is going to be in it via leak or official. But her being in it would not be off base because, like we said, she's always been someone that resists. So. She has potential.
Ripik Tan says, I'd like to see Jar Jar, and I'd like to see the changes / turmoil that the Senate and its representatives go through from the inside. Jar 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 is one of the ones where I'm not sure at this point where he's sitting. So I know that after the death of Padme, his temporary Senate seat, I think, was revoked because he was like acting as her representative within the Senate.
Correct.
While she was like out. But after her death, like that seat was no longer his. So I think at this point is like he's like this street performer, right? Like he's fucking
yeah,
on
I was
the
gonna
street.
say. I mean, I remember hearing something that this is canon, that Jar Jar literally is almost like a homeless person on the street at this point in time, and I we don't want to see Jar Jar done like that. I do think there could be some redemption for Jar Jar. I know that sounds odd. But done correctly, I do think there is a large group of fans that would love to see Jar Jar pop up again and not just be a buffoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if Rippick's trying to be silly or if that's legit, but I think Jar Jar has his fans, and I'm not a Jar Jar hater. I've never hated the character. But I'm with you. I don't think he was ever officially in the Senate or stayed with the Senate much after Rots.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean,
there you go.
I doubt
Bat
that.
saying it. Apparently, in the Aftermath books is where that popped up.
Okay.
Which are canon, I think. So.
Yeah, Aftermath books are canon, and they take place pretty much
after Jedi. Yeah, they would be after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, after Jedi.
So
yeah,
I guess who
Jedi.
knows? Maybe he hasn't hit his clown days yet.
Yeah, so we'll see. So Star Wars toy or photographer, we already got the Vader slaughtering innocent children. Uncanny Figure says Kid
this
Fisto.
Is just a fuck off.
I mean,
one.
you would have to see his dead body somewhere because Kid Fisto was killed in Palpatine's Senate chamber.
He has one of the weakest Jedi Master deaths of all time. It's him. Yeah. Who's the other idiot that just gets taken out willy nilly? Stacey Teen and Eth Koth, I think. This is like
Eth Koth gets ripped down.
Those three bums just get waxed by Twirly 2 Sidious, like. He makes that crazy sound. It's like some guttural sound that would never come out of Sheev Palpatine, but hey, whatever.
Yeah. Oh man. 2797 Studios says, I'll go with R2 and 3PO. Not only would it continue their streak, but it would be a fun moment for the show. Maybe a little bit of a light moment.
Yeah, why not?
I mean
they would be with the Organas. They got brief little cameos in the Kenobi series. And they essentially get stationed with Captain Antilles on the Tantive 4, right? So
yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like that was their last stopping point before they ended up with Luke on Tatooine, was as essentially, I guess, the protocol and the astromech droid of the Tantive 4.
I mean, they weren't even Bail. The Organas kicked them the fuck out of Alderaan. Like,
they were like,
two shitheads. Get your memories wiped and go hang out on the Tantive.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they slid in somehow, because they always seem to find their way into like content that's made around this era.
Yeah, because I mean, even R2 has made it to the Mandoverse, right? So 3PO is the only one who's not getting the love in that era.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe in Mando season 3 we'll get a look at 3PO or something. Who knows? All right, and then finally, Star Wars
Beskar Steel 3PO.
Yeah, it's full Beskar Steel. He's reforged.
How sweet would that be, though? Like if you had a full Beskar protocol droid, you really could, like you said, he would be the epitome of the a bullet sponge. You just roll him out there. You walk behind him as he's like skittering across the floor, and he's just a moving shield.
Yeah, you just stand behind him the whole time.
I mean, he would make Din Djarin look like a shitty bullet sponge, and we know he's one of the best. But a full Beskar 3PO, I mean, he would be invincible essentially.
Yeah, if his whole body was made out of Beskar, there's nobody that's fucking shooting through that.
He wouldn't even need his own guns, because he could just use the reflecting bolts off of his armor. You just be like blah 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 blah.
Oh my gosh, man, that would be great.
I need help.
All right, last one. Star Wars Black Series clip says, outside of the ones already shown, I'd like to see Director Krennic or Tarkin if they can pull it off.
Right in line with you then.
Yeah, he's on my team. He says even a small cameo would be great.
And
so
I think that's all we're asking for. I mean, I still want Andor to be about Andor, the Rebel Alliance, and new characters. I don't want all these cameos to be big or to take away from the story, but I do want little hits, even if it's conversations, passing conversation, hollow projections. That all works.
Right. Yeah. So
okay.
Good stuff there from all of our respondents. Thank you for taking the time. If you want to get involved in the question of the week, check our Instagram page on Thursday mornings. That's when they go up, and you can just drop your response on the either stories or the regular post. So there you go.
That's right. Bat just reminded me that would truly be the Rampo. Remember when we created Rampo? When we thought that C-3PO was going to be wielding bowcasters and whatnot in The Rise of Skywalker, which he did, but he wasn't fighting with them. So Bat is correct. If we got full Beskar 3PO, he would be the embodiment of Rampo, the murder droid for hire.
That's very true.
Okay, well, as Nick said, we just finished the first bit of our fan segment, Question of the Week, and now we will move into the second opportunity for fans to get involved in the live stream or just our regular recorded podcast, and that is through our fan artist features. That's right, we feature 5 Star Wars artists a week, and this all starts on Instagram. So if you have an Instagram and you like to make Star Wars art of any kind, it could be toys, it could be traditional real-ass paint, it could be, we've thrown it out there a few times. You could do bathroom art, whatever you want to do. All you got to do is use hashtag Star Wars Time Show and tag at Star Wars Time Show. Throughout the week, I will feature those posts using the tags on our page. And then every Monday, Nick sits down, contemplates life, thinks about his next big moves, and then picks the latest round of top 5 Star Wars artists to feature, which we're about to do right now for artists that posted in between 8:15 and 8:22. So Nick, take it away.
All right. First up in this week's top 5 is at Matea_toy_photography on Instagram. And he actually put out a couple of pieces of Jedi Finn, and they looked pretty fucking cool. So the one that I picked here for the top 5 feature is kind of Finn with the blue Skywalker family blade ignited behind him in almost like a superhero landing pose. He's got one hand on the ground, one leg kind of
he's totally doing a modified Black Widow.
Yeah, but it's just something. It's one of those things that it's like one of those fan moments that we always wish we got to see was really Finn embracing like what we now know as his Force sensitivity and like being a little bit more into that Jedi role. We got back to it in the last movie for like a line. Yeah, for like 2.5 seconds. So, but yeah, I think that Matea is like putting in his desires for Finn's Force affinity and training into his photography, and this shot came out incredible. Yeah, I love the sand kick up.
It's awesome. It is a great shot, and really, as Nick said, Matea did a series with this figure, and honestly, Nick, looking at these pictures, I'm really kicking myself for not getting into the Hot Toys back with TFA, because this Finn figure is phenomenal. It looks
top notch,
like a miniature John Boyega. I mean, it is the tits. It's perfect. It is one of the best looking Star Wars Hot Toys figures I've ever seen. Now, with that being said, Matea obviously brought it to life with fantastic shots, and the one Nick picked is great. It reminds me of the good old days when I'd get out there, natural light, throw up a black backdrop so you got some contrast going on, and then just get some canned air or drain cleaners and start spraying up particles and see what you get. And Matea_toy photography got some fantastic shots of this excellent Hot Toys Finn. I need to find them, but most Hot Toys they're only made until they're gone, and then they're gone, and then the value goes up. So that's why I still don't feel bad collecting Hot Toys. But it's hard to get figures that are done and you can only get from other fans for a decent price. But this one's great. So kudos to Matea Toy Photography. Great work with Hot Toys Finn from TFA.
Yes, indeed. All right. Next up on the IG is at Brick Panda 82, and what we have, if you know Brick Panda's work, he is a
resident
Lego
in the
toy
top
photographer.
5. Period. Like,
you
can almost guarantee it. If this dude's posting Lego Star Wars shots, I'm going to feature them, and Nick's probably going to pick one for top 5. So
he is like so good. He's so good, along with all of our other incredible Lego photographers like Tong Wars and 087, AR, that, Ray as well. But Brick Panda with this one did a scene recreation from Kenobi where we see our good friend Darth Vader while he is force choking and dragging Kenobi above the flames. That famous scene where he really gets the best of Kenobi and eventually drags him through the fire.
Revenge
to make him
porn for Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly. Make him feel his pain. But I mean, like, I don't know how he did. I mean, like, just Brick Panda 82 is a magician when it comes to Lego toy photography.
You know what, man?
This looks absolutely
They
incredible.
actually sent me the BTS. It's like we're guaranteed to get BTS if they get put into the top 5. So
Nice.
Brick Panda sent it over. I was trying to pull up our messages. It was taking up too much screen time. But this is another full practical setup. Obviously, the flames are added in post, but just used some, I don't know if it's kinetic sand or gravel, but all the orange lighting is literally from a smartphone screen. That's it. So,
I mean, that
and
is
the little Kenobi
crazy.
is being held in place by like a little figure arm that a lot of us have used to make figures look like they're jumping, floating, running, whatever. But yeah, that's it. I mean, pretty simple setup, but it's just the quality of finish that Brick Panda 82 always uses. And we've said this before. They make their photos look like stills from professionally made Lego Star Wars animation projects.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this could be coming from the next animated Lego Star Wars project hitting Disney Plus in December. I mean, it's top notch.
100%. So at Brick Panda 82 on IG, make sure to give them a follow. Next up in the top 5 is at Terradium on Instagram. That's TERRADIUM. And we see a stormtrooper shift change happening here. So basically, you see guys, you see a little cadre of stormtroopers coming down the escalator. Then you see one going up the escalator on the other side. They're kind of giving each other the wave, like, "Hey, good luck out there. Our shift is finished. You guys, this is what you got to deal with. So have fun." But
see, I'm with you. I felt the same way. I was like, oh, this is just the shift change on the Death Star or something. But if you read Tara Diem's initial caption, apparently this is like a Comic-Con.
Okay.
Like for a Trooper Comic-Con or whatever.
Yeah.
But
So
either
that's
way,
why you have so many different eras of troopers represented here.
Either way, I'm with you. That was the story that this image told me, was these are troopers changing shifts. And it'd be early on because you got some TKs mixed in with some clones. But as Nick said, you got the one group leaving, the other one coming. We've seen this before, even World War II, where you're refreshing a battalion. You'll see all the guys that have been on the front walking back to get some relief, to get some time off, where all the fresh troops are coming in. And it's like you're essentially seeing The Walking Dead coming at you as you're all clean and ready to go, and you're starting to realize, like, oh shit, what am I about to get into? I think one of the best examples of this is in Band of Brothers, where it's up to the Battle of the Bulge, and you have the frontliners coming off, and then our boys in Easy Company going on, and they're all just looking at them like, you guys don't even know what the fuck you're about to get into. Good luck if you live. So, but hey, either way, that's why this hobby's so much fun. Everyone can subjectively glean whatever story they want. So Nick and I went with a shift change for the Empire's forces, where Tara Diem, the creator of this, I believe, positioned it as a con event in cosplaying. But either way, it's a fantastic setup, getting all these little dickheads on those steps to represent an escalator. It's a fun shot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So at Terradium, Terradium, TERRADIUM on Instagram, make sure to go give them a follow. Next up in the top 5 is at Imperial_Troops_Optics. He's always got some high quality stuff here, and what we see is Lord Vader.
That's right.
This is pre metal body, more machine than man. This is when he first became Vader. So still the fresh-faced Anakin and his 501 troops flanking him as he is talking with his new master over a holo recording. I mean, a lot of it, like this figure of Anakin is just like incredibly detailed.
It's a great figure. It's the Hot Toys. I have this one too. I don't have the Sith Eyes version, but you're not wrong. It looks like Imperial Troops Optics slid in his mechanical hand. That was a nice little touch. But for me, Nick, it's the pose and just that slight lifting of the hood maneuver that kind of seals this shot for me. It's like, all right, I got you, boss. We're headed to the temple right now. Let me get my hood up so we can go as, was that Star Wars toy photographer once? We can go slaughter some innocent children.
Slaughter some innocent children, exactly.
Yeah, you can even see just the evilness in Anakin's face at this point in time. Like how he's already become this Lord Vader character versus the Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one. You are my brother, Anakin, that guy. So, no, it's a quality shot. I mean, Imperial Troops Optics is, it seems they're getting into some 1/6 scale. They also do fantastic mega 1/12 scale shots. So, good account to check out if you're into this shit.
100%. At Imperial_Troops_Optics on the IG. And then to close out the top 5.
Now, did you remember what I said last week, or did you naturally just go, holy fuck, look at this?
I remember that you said something about Black Series last week.
I put a bug in your ear for sure. I'm like,
but like when I go through, like, because I just go through the feed, I look at like our block of images, so I don't see the names associated with them when I pick them. So like I clicked it, and then when I opened it and I saw the full image, I was like, oh, okay, this is the one that Matt was talking about, and
it's obscene.
It's absolutely crazy. So this is from at Black Series at BLKSRS on Instagram, and it is an absolutely like just picture perfect shot of Queen Amidala when she's in her castle, her Naboo castle, and she's standing in front of like this huge picture window, and you get this incredible light that's shining through, casting shadow onto her, and it's just like this very poignant moment of the way that I'm thinking about it is like this is the moment where she sees the Trade Federation coming down.
You're spot on. You're 100% correct. This is an actual still from the movie. Like this is an actual shot that George himself set up. So Nick did a good job. If you remember, she's in her red crazy queen outfit and she's standing at that window looking all glum because her planet is being taken over by the Trade Federation. Now, at Black Series, fully and practically recreated this shot. And when I say practically, like I'm talking the fucking pillars of Naboo Castle, those floor to ceiling windows that you saw in the movie. Built all the shit practically. There's nothing digital in this shot outside of maybe enhancing the glowy balls on her dress. The figure itself, Nick, that is the Queen Amidala Christmas ornament, I believe, from Hallmark. So,
oh wow,
it's just, as I said in the caption when we featured this Black Series shot, this Black Series toy photo could be the greatest of all time, and I'm sticking to it. This is, in my opinion, the greatest toy picture I've ever seen, and it's actually it looks simple, but what he had to do for the setup and planning it and then executing it to get the perfect shadows coming in through the windows, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
It's insane. And like to know, like it's this incredible toy photography image that's not even a toy. It's a Christmas
ornament.
Fucking ornament. Like that it's wild. I mean, Zay has like always been one of the best and one of like the leaders in this space. But I mean, like to do what he did with this and like the behind the scenes shows you it shows you him at like Home Depot or a hardware store buying the little pieces that he needs. It shows you the full construction other side of the windows to see what he did to put it together. I mean, it's just like a next level
nuts,
build.
Well, I mean that's why he does what he does. That's why he gets invited by the LA Galaxy to create posters to give out at professional soccer events. I mean, yes, just look at this shot. It's ridiculous, and you should go check out the BTS if you haven't, because you look at this and you're like, fuck, did he like go to ILM and get the old model of Naboo Castle? No, he fucking recreated a chunk of it with supplies that he either found hanging around his house or that you could get at Home Depot for like $1. It's just wild. Like the mind on this man. It's not even like, oh, it's a scene recreation. So you'd be like, oh, that's not that creative. The creative aspect is how his mind was able to look at the scene in the movie and then go, I need to do A, B, C, D, E to recreate this. It's wild. So
yeah, like hand built pillars. Like he cut out like marble slabs. Like this is all like we've seen digiramas, we've seen like other like dioramas that you can like buy and put together. Like Zay went out and bought chunks of marble and had it cut to the exact dimensions that he needed. He made these pillars out of nothing, out of like pieces of wallpaper and metal tubes. Like it's insane the amount of detail and work that he put into this.
I mean, he's the Bob Vila of toy photography builds. There's no doubt about it.
That's a good way to put it.
The way he can just take simple items that you would look at and most of us would probably just throw out and turn them into props for toy photography that look like real world buildings and, furnishings like Nick's talking about. It's absolutely wild. So while I don't think this would make a great looking tattoo, I do feel like I should mutilate my body in honor of the excellence that this shot exudes here from BLK SRS. I mean, he doesn't need us to fucking talk about him or whatnot. He's in with what's his name, Rexing around a popular Star Wars cast. But we love him, we appreciate him, and when you see shots like this, it's hard not to want to quit toy photography if you're in it. So
that's right.
This is why I don't feel bad not shooting toys right now, because I could never do this.
One day. Next con you go to, you have to go to the next Sir Dork toy photography con. Get some stuff there. Get back in.
He like I said, for the first one, he was going to give us our own little booth and table and whatever we wanted to do. So if it lines up, maybe toys in action too. You never know.
Maybe Toys in Action too. We might be able to make it out there.
Because as you know, Nick, as they tell us, we do a lot for the toy community. It's just
we have heard that. I'm glad that we can be a beacon of positivity and
just
hope
be
for the
just be a beacon for the SWTS every once in a while. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
All right, man.
Light the flares.
It's time, isn't it? It's that time, right?
It is time.
Okay.
It's the end of the top 5. It's the end of the show, and it's time for Matt to take us home.
That's right. I'll try to end this one better than last week. I did not like my ending last week. too many pauses, too much thinking, too much begging and pleading. But you got to do it at some point in time. I'm not going to go stand on a street with my hand out asking people to check out the Star Wars Time Show. That's what the show's for. It's not only to entertain, but hopefully to gain some new listeners. And if you are new, we want to hear from you. Either join into the live stream on Tuesdays, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show, 2:30 p. East. Drop some comments, join in the fun if you can, or send us an email through one of our social platforms, or where I'm going to tell you about next, the end-all, be-all destination for the Star Wars Time Show, and that is StarWarsTime.net. So that's how you can interact with us. Start doing us. Let us know, how are we doing? Are we reaching? Are we connecting with you? Or are we not? We need to know. Numbers go up, numbers go down. Numbers go up, up, up. Numbers go down, down, down. It's very hard to tell what this show is doing anymore in terms of an audience. But we know we got the loyal fandos in the live stream. We love you, and we speak all of your names. Just don't forget to keep stumping. StarWarsTime.net. That's where you send the noobs. That's where they can find all the links to the podcast platforms and, of course, our YouTube channel. And if you do happen to sub to the show on any of the platforms, do what you got to do to help us out. Feed the AI overlords. Like, comment, rate, review, share, thumbs up. I think that covers all the different ways you can interact with our content on social platforms. And also don't forget about the short form content for those of you that have the attention span of a gnat. We have also embraced that. You can catch them on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, everyone's favorite, and of course, YouTube Shorts. All right, my friends, there is always time for Star Wars time. Don't you ever forget it. Keep spreading that word. Keep duping new people into eating up their Tuesday afternoons, checking out the Star Wars Time Show on a weekly basis. Because you all know it. We know it. We tell you every week. But if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you always.